Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers show that Drew Quatermain, Cameron Matheson, on the warpath and playing dirty against his own family. And we have to wonder, is his thirst for revenge going to kill Monica Quatermain, Leslie Charlson? You know, it's no secret that Tracy Quatermain, Jane Elliott, and Monica Quatermain, Leslie Charlson, have had more than their fair share of conflict over the years on General Hospital. But deep down, at this point in their lives, you know, Tracy and Monica have this deep respect. They love each other, and they are in a very good place. For a while now, Tracy has been vocal about not wanting anyone to rock the boat or upset Monica in any way because her health is fragile. That's why when the whole scandal with Drew cheating with Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell, wife, Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, came out, Tracy was very worried about the effect it would have on Monica. Not to mention that was at the same time that Michael nearly died in the explosion at Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, and he was rushed to Germany to be treated for all his third-degree burns. All of that is stress for Monica. That's also why Tracy banned Drew from the Quatermain grounds. Shortly after that, Drew was stunned, hurt, shocked when he kept trying to reach Monica to get her to override Tracy, but Monica wouldn't even take his calls. And she seemed to be completely okay with Tracy kicking him off the Quatermain property. Monica was also on board and supportive when Tracy was desperate to keep Michael's children at the mansion. So, you know, Monica adores her great-grandchildren, and Tracy wanted her to be able to spend as much time with them as possible. Tracy even confided in her new bestie, Stella Henry, Verney Watson, about how hard it's going to be when Monica passes away, so they're setting everything up. Right now, Drew is completely off the rails. He's ruthlessly trying to stick it to Tracy. And to be fair, she did provoke Drew by getting a court order banning him from calling himself a Quatermain. But despite Tracy also playing dirty, it could absolutely be Drew's actions. And the stress he's causing that kills Monica. I mean, sadly, GH fans know that her character's death is coming. And probably coming soon because her portrayer, Leslie Charlson, passed away not that long ago. The Monica actress, if you don't remember, died January 12th of this year. She was 79, nearly 50 years on General Hospital. I mean, gosh, I just remember watching her when I was a kid. You know, her cause of death was revealed to be a result of traumatic brain injury, and that was down to some balance issues. Leslie had been having a really hard time getting around. She was using a wheelchair, using a walker. And we know she suffered a fall not long before her death, which had just been one in a series of falls over the last few years that had just been catastrophic to her health, and all of that led to the head injury that ended her life. Of course, the General Hospital showrunners are going to write out the character of Monica Quatermain. They're not going to recast it. That's out of the question. Fans would be absolutely outraged. So, no matter how they do it, Monica's character will exit as part of a death storyline. And the way things are going with Drew, it looks increasingly like Monica passing away could be caused by his drama and the vengeful chaos he's engaging in constantly. His lawyer, Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, is helping stir the pot. Drew Quatermain recently had a surveyor come to the Quatermain estate to survey the land and found out that the Quatermain family crypt is partially on public land. Plus, it was illegally taken by Edward Quatermain, Stuart Damon. So Drew and Martin Gray made a really slimy move. They got a court order to move the crypt and the remains inside it. And that includes Tracy's parents, Edward and Leila Quatermain, and her brother, Alan Quatermain, Stuart Damon, Monica's ex-husband. You know, this is low, even for Drew, and Tracy was furious. In her rage, she knocked a tool from the surveyor's hand, and Drew called it assault. And he had Tracy arrested, but that's not going to stop her. She told Drew he betrayed everybody and harmed Monica, who had welcomed him into her home when he showed up, just a few years back. Tracy even told Drew he should leave Port Charles. But Drew clapped back and reminded Tracy that she was once the black sheep of the family. Everybody wanted her gone at one point and said it could happen again. Drew declared he is a Quartermain, and Mayor Laura Spencer, Jenny Francis, convinced Drew to drop the charges on Tracy because it's not going to work out well for him. It's just not good optics politically. Martin backed Laura up, so Drew finally backed down, said the war is far from over though, on General Hospital. Then Drew told Martin he will break Tracy, and he is determined to get the Qs to turn on her, but it seems like there's no way that would happen. Tracy called him a grifter and said she wouldn't let him use the Quartermain family name or move her parents from their final resting place. Drew's been awful. And this whole ordeal absolutely, I think, could be the tipping point that robs Monica of her last bit of health and kills her. If Drew doesn't stop, and he keeps ripping the family apart, Monica might literally die of a broken heart. Drew trying to move Alan's remains and the remains of other people Monica loved. And targeting the family is just too much. The shock of what Drew is doing may be so great, Monica goes into cardiac arrest or some other dire medical crisis. I mean, we know the powers that be at General Hospital have to write out Leslie Charleston's character at some point. And it's been going on a while, so my guess it'll come soon, maybe in May sweeps. Drew seems the likeliest source of blame for Monica's death. And if he is found to be responsible or the family thinks he is, Drew will be hated forever, not just by the whole Key family, but most people in Port Charles and over at General Hospital, because Monica was such a legacy there. If Drew's aggravating antics stress Monica to death, he would be more hated than ever, and by even more people. Sadly, of course, Monica's story must end. And while they are completely villainizing him and making him worse by the day, I can see them making Drew the cause of her death. We'll have to wait and see, but since GH wants him to be the most hated man in town, placing the blame for Monica's death at his doorstep seems like someplace they might go. Drew Quartermain is already irredeemable, after what he did with Willow and to Michael by doing that. And then now moving Willow and the kids in with him, so he doesn't have much further to fall. But if it is Drew that triggers Monica's death, that's about as far as he could fall. And I don't think anyone in Port Charles would ever see him the same way again. In the world of General Hospital, few characters have had such a long-standing impact as Monica Quartermain. Her life, filled with triumphs, tragedies, and personal transformations, has captivated audiences for decades. The recent turn of events, however, has shocked viewers and left the town of Port Charles in a state of disbelief and sorrow. Drew Cain, once a loyal and protective brother, now stands at the center of a heartbreaking twist that has left Monica dead, her life claimed by a mix of emotional turmoil and unforeseen circumstances. But how did it come to this tragic end? And what role did a mysterious crypt and a broken heart play in this devastating conclusion? Monica's death is more than just a plot twist. It is a culmination of years of complex relationships, unresolved grief, and a history that has haunted the Quartermain family. At the heart of this tragedy is Drew, a character whose journey has been fraught with struggles, lost time, and a deep desire for redemption. Drew's return to Port Charles had initially been a cause for celebration. Reuniting with his family after being lost in a foreign country for years, Drew had seemed to be the glue that could mend the fractures in the Quartermain family. He was a man who had lived through the pain of amnesia, only to come back and rediscover his ties to his loved ones. Drew's bond with his mother, Monica, was one of the few constants in his life, a relationship built on love, trust, and an unwavering sense of loyalty. However, the darkness lurking in Drew's past was never far behind, and it would soon resurface in the most unexpected and devastating of ways. The crypt, a place that had long been a symbol of both family and mystery, held the key to many of the unanswered questions surrounding Monica's death. Drew, in an effort to protect the family and uncover buried truths, had inadvertently triggered a series of events that would spiral out of control. The crypt, which once held the remains of loved ones, became the catalyst for Monica's undoing. Monica, ever the pillar of strength, had always tried to shield her family from the darker aspects of their history. But the emotional toll of years spent fighting for the survival of her family and dealing with the constant presence of danger had begun to wear on her. The crypt, once a place of solace, now became a symbol of unresolved pain. In his desperation to find closure, found himself drawn to it. He believed that by confronting the past, he could offer his family peace. But in doing so, he unknowingly shattered the delicate balance that had kept Monica going all these years. As Drew uncovered long-hidden truths, the emotional weight of the secrets became too much for Monica to bear. The once vibrant woman, known for her resilience and sharp wit, was now overwhelmed with grief. The realization that her family's past was more tragic than she had ever imagined took a toll on her mental and emotional health. In the midst of her turmoil, Drew's actions, though driven by love and a desire to protect, only seemed to deepen the wound. The broken bond between mother and son, once strong and unshakable, had begun to crack under the strain of these revelations. But what made Monica's death even more tragic was the fact that it wasn't just the weight of the past that led to her demise. It was the deep emotional rift between her and Drew that truly broke her heart. Monica had always been the protector, the one who fought to keep her family together. She had faced so many challenges, from raising her children to dealing with the endless drama of the Quartermaine fortune. But this time, it was different. The crypt, the broken heart, and the strained relationship with her son were too much for her to handle. Monica's death was not just the result of physical decline. It was the culmination of a lifetime of emotional scars and unhealed wounds. Drew, in his grief and guilt, found himself grappling with the realization that his actions had directly contributed to his mother's death. The broken heart that had been building for so many years had finally reached a breaking point. In a way, Drew had unwittingly become the architect of Monica's demise, though not through malice. His desire to fix things, to mend the fractured family, had instead caused irreparable damage. The weight of this knowledge was more than Drew could bear. As he stood at his mother's bedside, knowing that her death had been a direct result of the emotional chaos he had stirred up, the magnitude of his actions became all too clear. The loss of Monica had rippled throughout Port Charles, leaving an indelible mark on those who knew and loved her. Her death was not just a personal loss for Drew and the Quartermaine family, it was a loss for the entire town. Monica had been a symbol of strength, compassion, and unwavering commitment. Her passing marked the end of an era, the loss of a beloved matriarch whose influence had been felt across generations. The absence of Monica Quartermaine left a void that no one could ever truly fill. For Drew, the journey ahead was uncertain. The man who had once been full of hope and determination now found himself drowning in sorrow and regret. His relationship with his family was irreparably damaged, and the weight of his mother's death hung over him like a dark cloud. The crypt, the broken heart, and the emotional turmoil had left scars that would never fade. Drew's path was one of redemption, but whether he could ever truly forgive himself for the role he played in Monica's death remained to be seen. As the days passed, the town of Port Charles slowly began to heal from the loss of Monica. But for Drew, the healing process would be long and painful. The crypt, the secrets it held, and the broken relationships would forever be a part of his story. Drew had lost his mother, but in many ways, he had also lost himself in the process. The tragic events surrounding Monica's death served as a harsh reminder that sometimes, the people we love the most are the ones who can hurt us the most, even if it's unintentional. In the aftermath of Monica's passing, the Quartermaine family faced the difficult task of moving forward without her. But as they all struggled to cope with the loss, one thing remained clear: Monica's legacy would live on. She had been a force of nature, a woman who had fought for her family, her values, and her own survival. Her death may have been a tragic end, but her life had been one of profound impact, leaving an imprint on everyone who knew her. Drew, for all his flaws and mistakes, would carry her memory with him for the rest of his life. In the end, it was clear that while Monica's heart may have been broken, the love she had given to her family would never truly fade. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updated news.